Yeah, it's been pretty clear in this series that the Brahmas have more skill. Tonight they've had much more will. You add those two together and you're looking at 6-1.
Their speed and their organization have just been too much for the Jackalopes to overcome in the 7th game of this series. McLeod with a shot from the point that's deflected. Cameron holds it in. 10 seconds remaining on the power play, and the Jackalopes are able to clear. McLeod at the red line. Finds Skorchinski. Now McLeod gets it back. McLeod in the corner. He'll throw it in front all the way to the boards on the far side as Moyer comes out of the penalty box for even strength. Jacobson battling with Van Drunen. McLeod. He moves toward the corner. Checked by Grinke. Van Drunen finds Kelly. Across the ice to Swiniarski. He'll fire it just wide of Yeager. Kelly puts it on goal, but the save is made by Yeager.
There's a save of a pretty good shot. That was on goal, had some heat on it. But again, Yeager's on his game. He handled that one pretty effortlessly.
Just 4.4 seconds remaining here in the period. It'll be Carlander versus Deitch in the face-off circle.
Fans have the purple on tonight.
Indeed they do. Well, that'll do it for the second period. A period where the Texas Brahmas took firm control of this game. And after 40 minutes, they lead the 7th game of the CHL Southern Conference Championship 6-1. They look to clinch the series and advance to the President's Cup final next on Time Warner Cable Metro Sports.
Time Warner Cable has Reel on Demand. You want a movie? It's there.
It's easy.
Yeah, but DirecTV says they have on demand, but then you gotta worry about downloading and broadband speeds and hard drives and queues. I guess it's a kind of on demand. It's like tofu turkey.
It sounds like turkey, but it's not.
Yeah, you can slice it like turkey. Never gonna be real turkey.
It's never gonna be real turkey.
Don't matter how much gravy you put on.
10,000 shows per month instantly? DirecTV doesn't have it. Time Warner Cable does. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
Remember when we were fascinated by this sound? Racing onto the internet through a dial-up phone modem. Woo! We thought that was fast, till competition came from cable and lit a fire under the internet. Movies and music and pictures, just like that. Cable fixed TV, the internet, and now phones. Made them all easy. Cable competes. We win.
Hey, I'm Anna, and I'm making a documentary about my life.
Do your thing, Paco. Flip it.
This is way better than reality TV. Because it's 100% me.
Bajaste mi música.
Love it. Sergio used it for the film and it rocks.
Loca, te guillaste.
With the speed of Roadrunner, you have the power to be 100% you. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
The Texas Brahmas are 20 minutes away from a Southern Conference championship. They lead Game 7 entering the third period 6-1, and they poured it on in the second period. But there were some presentations to charity earlier tonight here at the Nytex Sports Center. The Odessa Jackalopes donating $1,000 to the Children's Miracle Network, and the Brahmas donated $1,000 to the Fort Worth YMCA. So both teams making contributions to charity prior to Game 7 tonight, which has been dominated by the Brahmas, Richie.
Yeah, we're on the verge of a pretty special night here in Brahmas history. I mean, 11 years, 6 years without the playoffs, and since Dan Walfong's taken over the last 2 years, 40 wins, 42 wins this year. Last year they got to the game 7 of the conference finals and lost a heartbreaker. This year they get back and they're putting on probably one of their best performances of the year. 6-1 lead, and you know they've got 1 foot in the President's Cup right now. They don't fall on their face.
There's the star of the night, Tyler Skorchinski. Skorchinski tonight with 3 goals and 2 assists. Knudsen with that shot from the point was assisted by Skorchinski and Jacobson. That goal made it 4-0. Quinn would score to make it 5-0. And the Brahmas weren't done yet. McLeod with that goal, assisted by Jacobson and Skorchinski. Bernard added a goal for the Jackalopes, their only goal of the game. The third period is underway. The Brahmas just have to secure a 5-goal lead in order to advance to the President's Cup final to face the Northern Conference winner, either Colorado or Mississippi.
The question is, do the Jackalopes fight back or do they just start fighting?
They used the fighting to get back into game 5, which they lost here 7-5. When everybody had counted them out, they made it a 1-goal game. Yeager makes the save here. Palmer fires it in front, covered up by Yeager. Yeager's just been brilliant throughout the postseason.
Other than the 1 game 5 when it got away from him a little bit in the third period and he let the Jackalopes back in the game. Other than that period, really, he's been stellar this whole playoffs. The best goalie in all the CHL in the playoffs.
Yeager first in the CHL with a 1.94 goals against average in the postseason entering tonight. And he's only allowed the 1 goal tonight, which was a little bit of a fluky goal.
Yeah, the Brahmas defense in front of him has not given up a lot of open ice. There hasn't been a lot of hard, direct shots he's had to deal with. The one knuckleball kind of butterflied over him, but anything he could see and get a mid on or a stick on or a pad on, it's been no contest.
Brinke fired that shot in on Yeager, but makes the save. And the Brahmas control. Knudsen sends it down ice as Texas makes changes on the fly. McConnell to Quinn. Sends it around the boards to Pete Rouleau. Now from the point, Ross Rouleau fires. McConnell with a rebound. Fires it right into Symington, who stays in goal here in the third period, replacing Toivonen. Toivonen came in with a goals against average of 2.
Which is pretty good. But what's really good is he shut this Brahmas team out in games 4 and 6.
Yeager second in the CHL playoffs with a .938 save percentage. Toivonen came in with a .913 save percentage. That one fired in front by Ross Rouleau. Symington makes the save. L'Esperance dumps it in. Belinga gets there first for the Brahmas. Ross Rouleau loses his footing, but the Brahmas clear. Jacobson sends it ahead. Skorchinski trying to drive Van Drunen off the puck. McLeod at center ice. Tried to play it off the boards. Van Drunen sends it in. Yeager makes the save, clears it to the side boards. Pierce fires it across the ice. Jacobson there for Texas. The Jackalopes control at their own blue line. Moyer to Van Drunen. That shot high and wide. Sloppy pass by Lavalier intended for Pierce. Palmer chases it. Tries to get it to Van Drunen. Kelly unable to play it across the blue line. Deitch has it for Texas. Sends it to the corner diagonally. The Brahmas will make changes. Pete Rouleau gets a stick on it as the whistle sounds.
A little bit of a strange feel here starting the third. I mean, you're the Brahmas. You don't want to get any bad habits, but the last thing you want to do is get somebody hurt. I've seen them sidestep a couple of hits where in the first period for sure, maybe the second, would have been a pretty pretty big collision. But here I think they're already thinking about the finals.
Face off at center ice, won by Quinn of Texas. Menard, the Brahmas captain, controls, crosses his own blue line. Had Quinn, but Quinn unable to control it, covered up by Symington. 16:48 remaining in the third period. The Brahmas with a commanding 6-1 lead. Tyler Skorchinski scored the first 3 goals. He had 2 assists in the second period. A 4-goal second period for the Brahmas. Kanunen, Quinn, and McLeod the other goal scorers.
That last little exchange, Menard put on a little juke and a little weak leg maneuver that had Los Perrons just corkscrewing into the ice, adding insult to injury on this night.
Jacobson and Carlander in the face-off circle, won by Jacobson of the Brahmas. Skorchinski battles with Barassa. Kanunen has it at the half boards. Now cleared by the Jackalopes. Skorchinski with a backhander to Jacobson. Sets up Cameron, centering pass to Skorchinski, who is looking for another goal.
A little too unselfish there by Cameron. He had a pretty good shot if he'd have wanted to launch that. He tried to set up Skorchinski for yet another.
Would be looking for his 4th goal of the night. Dyke scores, and it's 7-1. From just inside the blue line. Dyke rifles the shot past Symington.
Look at the open ice again. And Palmer.
Odessa just flat-footed. Believe it or not,
dear.
That's a good scene in North Richland Hills.
I was going to say that's 100 pounds of flesh for each goal, but maybe we need about 3 more goals to get there.
They know how to have fun at the Nytex Sports Center.
Deitch with nobody around him, and Palmer, who's been taking some really dumb penalties, he showed no interest in getting in front of that puck.
Odessa just flat-footed. The Brahmas keep pouring it on. Back to a 6-goal lead. The Brahmas win the draw. This will be icing. Texas has outshot Odessa 32-22 en route to this 7-1 lead.
When do you, if you're Dan Wilfong, start taking out Jaeger and Skorchinski and resting a couple of guys, or do you just play this thing out?
I think I would just play it out. Ross Rulo sends it around the boards to Shepard. Sent back toward Jaeger. Loose in the face-off circle. Rulo has it. Rulo immediately gets it to Benedict. He'll fire from the red line and just missed.
With the way Odessa's playing defense, I don't think any of the Brahmas want to come out now. This is cherry-picking time. I mean, Odessa's back line is just pretty much going through the motions.
Chance to pad those playoff numbers
There
going
you
into
go.
the President's Cup final. McLeod. Texas still controls in their own end. Saunders finds McConnell. McConnell reaches out for it, but it goes right past him. Van Trunen has it for Odessa in the corner. The Jackalopes in their own end. Just over 15 minutes remaining in the Jackalope season. Unless they can really rally to tie, trailing by 6 goals, Jaeger has to stop that puck coming in from center ice, and he does.
Brahmas have 7 goals tonight, which is unexpected and very uncharacteristic, but they've done it all year with defense, and that's the backbone of what they've done here again tonight. I mean, they were the best defensive team in the CHL this year with 170 goals allowed. And again, even though they've lost 3 games in the series with a couple of shutouts, their defense has not wavered. It's been their biggest asset. Again, it's come up big again tonight.
This is the first time that Texas and Odessa have ever faced each other in the playoffs, but I think it's a budding rivalry. Jacobson races in, trying to get around Moyer, kick the puck to the corner. Skorchinski playing it back toward Jacobson. Moyer is there defensively for the Jackalopes. Comes out to Ramsey. To LaParence. Swiniarski. Van Drunen has his shot blocked. Then pushes Saunders to the ice. Carrying it in is Cameron. He fires it high. The Jacks controlled. Shepard in for Cameron. Palmer trying to glove it. Has to chase it down at the goal line. Jacks struggling to get out of their own end. Shepard is there with a good forecheck. Batted down by Deitch. Into neutral ice. Picked up by Barassa. Carlander has his pass. Nearly picked off by Quinn. Now McConnell scoops it up and moves in. His shot deflected by Plant. Centering pass for Quinn. Quinn scores his second of the game. And the Brahmas now lead 8-1.
I'm Odessa's corner man. I got to stop this fight. This is getting ugly.
Matt Quinn scoring his first 2 goals of the playoffs tonight. This goal from the slot makes it 8-1 Brahmas.
Perfect pass, perfect one-timer, but again, just not a lot of defense, not a lot of effort. Get the feeling Odessa's already, mentally, they're already on the bus for that long, depressing, dusty ride back to West Texas.
This is a team that has developed a reputation in the playoffs of being a team that'll battle back, that'll fight even when they're down. They haven't shown much fight here in the third period. Valinga plays it in deep for Cameron. More activity in front of Symington. Odessa's played the majority of the game in their own end. It's been a struggle just to get across the blue line. The Brahmas defense, just as big a story tonight. They're really starting to pour it on, and no sign of letting up. Cameron lost the puck there. The Brahmas have to clear the zone. Benedict will dump it in, and Texas will make changes. 12 and a half minutes to play.
Yeah, Pete, you mentioned maybe some guys wanting to pad their playoff stats. I think you hit it right on the head. I mean, the Brahmas are not exactly falling back behind their blue line and playing defense. They got some guys sniffing around goals for, we got 4 and 5 point knots here.
I think they are emphatically sending the message to the Jackalopes, we're the better team.
This is one of those rare 8-1 games where the score is misleading and that it was even a bigger blowout than that.
Not as close as that score might indicate. It's been all Brahmas, and now offside the call. And it appears as though the Jackalopes will bow out meekly here in the third period.
I'm a little surprised.
Yeah, I am too. When you consider the way they fought back against Laredo, the way they have fought back in this series, they trailed in this series twice. When they fell way behind in game 5 here, they made that a 1-goal game before Texas added an empty netter to win that game 7-5. We haven't seen that kind of fight tonight out of the Jackalopes.
Just get the feeling there's just no gas in the tank. That
Quinn's got plenty of gas, and he
go.
turns it on. A centering pass from Pete Rouleau. Goes by Rouleau. Kanunen there in the corner for the Brahmas. Pierce there for Odessa. Now the puck is controlled by Russ Moyer.
And this is not all that unique in game 7s. I mean, a lot of them are conservative and tooth and nail, low scoring, but We've seen in the NBA, the Mavericks had a game against the Rockets a couple years ago, a Game 7, where they won by 40 points. It's just when the teams fought so hard for so long and they realize they're not going to win, sometimes the wind just goes out of the sails and the boat sinks. This one's sinking pretty dang fast.
Barasa trying to organize an attack for the Jackalopes, unable to do so. But here comes Cameron for Jacobson, a backhander in front. Jacobson behind the net, a centering pass for Skorchinski out of the zone. Ross Rulo will send it in. Texas will make changes.
So we saw Palmer take a really silly penalty early. Now I almost wouldn't blame him if he puts a Brahma on his back, skating in for, you know, I don't want this to get embarrassing if I'm Odessa. 8-1's bad enough. I don't want to see 9, even 10. I may take a penalty just to send a message that enough is enough.
Valinga picking the pocket of Kelly, but the Jackalopes come out of their own end. Lavalier wraps it around the board. Jaeger tees it up for Ross Rulo. Rulo sends it up the middle of the ice for Quinn. Valinga trying to find Quinn. Instead, the Jacks have it at the Brahmas blue line. Cercelli skates in, gets pinned into the glass. Good check by T. Rulo. And now Berto on the ice for the first time tonight. A centering pass for Rulo. Couldn't find it. Lesperance with a shot. Jaeger leaves a rebound. But the Brahmas defense there to gather it in. Saunders plays it in deep.
Odessa's looking at Berto like, who the heck are you and where'd you come from? All jumping out of the box, exciting with a hop in your step. We're just trying to get this thing over with. You're flying down the ice, flirting for number 9.
McLeod trying to find a little daylight. Shoveled aside by Simonton. Ramsey has it for the Jacks. Sends it across the ice. Saunders is there to send it right back in. Intercepted by Van Drunen, who plays it off the boards. McLeod chips it to the corner, and the Brahmas will make changes on the fly here.
One thing's for sure is, you know, an 8-1 blowout in a lot of arenas might be fans leaving early to beat the traffic, but not here. You got to feel these guys are going to milk this for all it's worth and enjoy it for every, you know, a little redemption from last year's heartbreaking loss in the Game 7 of the conference finals. This year they get the blowout victory, and they're going to savor it.
Shepard with the centering pass for Benedict, but he couldn't pull the trigger. 8.5 minutes to go in the third. Texas up 8-1 in the decisive 7th game of the Southern Conference Finals. Menard trying to take it away from Bernard. Kelly. Palmer across his own blue line. Tightly checked by McConnell. Jaeger keeps it in play. Pounded off Jaeger's pads by Kelly. Held in by Bourbeau, but now cleared by the Brahmas. Quinn gives chase, but Lavalier is there for Odessa. Bourbeau has it at the Jacks blue line. Sent back in by Ross Rulo. The Brahmas make changes as a battle in the corner ensues. Now Palmer ready to mix it up. Pushes Cameron down to the ice. Another big check into the glass. Lavalier at center ice. He dumps it in as the Jackalopes make changes. Ross Rulo controls behind his own net. Finds Skorchinski across the ice to Jacobson. Looking for Shepard, intercepted by Greinke. Skorchinski at center ice. Flips it in with a backhand as he goes to the bench. And the Brahmas bring on fresh legs.
No sign of letting up still at this point by the Brahmas. All the frontline guys still taking their shifts and still with a lot of energy, a lot of, they're sniffing around for 9, maybe even 10. Just don't think the scoring's over in this
Maybe double digits is the goal here. Deitch off his own blue line. He'll just shovel it in deep. And the Brahmas working very quick shifts right now with 6:50 to play in the third, leading 8-1. Carlander up the right wing boards. Held to the outside, and Texas is able to clear. Van Drunen sends it across to Moyer. Up the center of the ice for Bernard. McConnell to Saunders. McLeod finds Jacobson. Jacobson fires, deflected high. Cameron holds it in for the moment. Retreating is Moyer, pressured by Jacobson. Now moves up the ice. Korchinski fanned on it. Kelly gives it a tomahawk chop, but unable to hold it in the zone. Back to center ice. Menard with possession for the Brahmas. Plays it off the linesman. Pushed forward by Cameron to Korchinski. He'll dump it in. Symington able to lay it off for Van Drunen. Kelly almost lost it at his own blue line. Now Bourbeau gets checked into the glass, and the glass shatters. A glass shattering check.
You know what they say, Pete, it ain't a party till something gets broken.
Well, party on, my friends. The Brahmas lead 8-1 with 5:35 to play. This will delay the celebration as they replace that pane of glass. Hopefully, nobody got injured.
Doesn't look like anybody's hurt, but got some people combing some fiberglass out of their hair. Fittingly,
yeah, that'll
looks
ruin
like a woman with a
suds.
Swiniarski jersey. She's having a rough night right there.
It's the Brahmas 8, Odessa 1, 5:35 to play. A celebration coming up, but first they've got to replace a pane of glass and clean up the mess that shattered glass left. 8-1, Texas in Game 7 of the Southern Conference Championship on Time Warner Cable, Metro Sports.
Turns out Verizon Fios charges serious cash for service calls. But when my bill comes from Time Warner Cable and I see they don't charge me for service calls, I get real choked up. You know, like at the end of a sports movie when the team wins. Only this time, I'm the team.
Mike.
Yeah.
You all right?
Yeah.
All right.
Free service calls? Verizon Fios doesn't have them. Time Warner Cable does. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
Remember when we were fascinated by this sound? Racing onto the internet through a
dial-up phone modem. Woo! We thought that was fast.
Until competition came from cable and they set the internet on fire.
Goopy! Movies and music and pictures.
Just like that.
Cable fixed TV.
The internet.
And now phones.
En un solo pago. Cable competes.
We win.
Check this out, yo. Not bad, huh?
Whatever, my team is still number one.
That's the game.
We play fantasy soccer. We've got to catch every game we can. With HD service from Time Warner Cable, we get slamming picture and sound and plenty of HD channels to choose from. I'm a fantasy soccer diehard.
With HD service from Time Warner Cable, you've got the power to be 100% you. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
So the shattered glass has been cleaned up. A new plate of glass has been inserted. Game 7 resumes with 5:27 to play in the third period, and Texas leading Odessa 8-1. Let's get another look at that play that shattered the glass. This is Bourbeau. Noonan with a hip check, and it looks like Bourbeau's skate came up and kicked the glass, and that's what caused the glass to shatter. And here's some of the after effect.
And that appears to be, talk about insult to injury, there's the Jackalopes fan with a Swiniarski jersey.
Already not in a good mood.
Picking glass out of everywhere, it looked like.
Thought you were going to rhyme there for a minute. 8-1 lead for Texas. Pete Rouleau with the steal. The shot just wide left. Bourbeau crosses his own blue line. Plays it in deep. 4:56 remaining before the Brahmas can celebrate a Southern Conference championship and a berth in the President's Cup final to play either Colorado or Mississippi. Colorado leading that series 3-2. They won the first 3 games of the series. Mississippi has rallied back to make it a series.
Pete, I know you're Mr. Careful, Mr. Cautiously Optimistic. Can we look ahead yet to the President's Cup?
I think it's safe to look ahead.
Let's. Brahmas played Colorado only once this year, and they beat the Eagles 4-1 here at Nytex. They played Mississippi 5 times, going 2-2-1, 2-0 here at Nytex. So again, even in the President's Cup, the Brahmas have home success over both opponents. So that bodes well for even continued success in this magical season.
Skorchinski split the defense and nearly scored his 4th goal. He had all 4 game winners in the Southern Conference semifinals against Rio Grande Valley. He'll have the game winner tonight. He had just 1 game-winning goal in the regular season. He scored the first 3 tonight. He also has 2 assists. Deitch up the left wing boards. Fires it in front. Skips off Symington's pad. Bernard gloves it down. Now Pierce up the middle of the ice. Turned away by Saunders and Bernard. Shepard controls. He loses it to Bernard.
We know how good this must feel to Brahmas fans and the players who had the disappointment last year of losing Game 7 in the conference finals.
Bernard with the centering pass. Somebody's lost some equipment.
Here we go.
We got a penalty coming up and a fight that Saunders is involved in. Saunders, the enforcer for the Brahmas. The referee's trying to break it up.
Unsuccessfully to this point. Looks like he's on top of the pile, but I believe the pile still has a little life in it.
I think we got a referee sandwich there. Van Drunen and Saunders decided to mix it up with just over 3 minutes to play. Texas leading 8-1. A high stick caught Saunders.
That didn't take long, did it?
And he chased down Van Drunen and gave him a 5th sandwich.
That's pretty good reflexes there by Saunders. He was high-sticked and gloves were off in about 0.2 seconds. He made a beeline.
So Carlander and Menard being talked to by the referee. I don't know that they caught the high stick that initiated that scuffle.
I don't think they did. It's always the second man in, right?
That was clearly the second man in. I don't think Saunders was worrying about taking the penalty.
I don't think so either. I don't think 8-1, I don't think I blame him. If there's ever a good time to throw the gloves and take one, that's it.
Well, the referee right now is pushing away.
And Moyer
Russ
is,
Moyer.
He's got his lips in overdrive, barking at the Brahmas bench. And if you're the Brahmas, just, do the old trick where you point to the scoreboard and let him have his say, because the last thing you want to do is have another fight, maybe get somebody hurt on the lip of the cup here for the President's Cup. That's the only thing that can ruin this night.
In Game 5, Scott Shepard had 4 goals and 2 assists. And he's almost been matched tonight by Skorchinski, who's got 3 goals and 2 assists.
I was talking about the special night for Brahmas fans and Brahmas players who went through the disappointment of the Game 7 loss in the conference finals last year to get so close. It's also a special night for the co-owners of this franchise, and that's Andy Moog, the former Stars goalie, and Stuart Fraser. Probably, maybe recognize that name. He was the CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald, the company that was basically and tragically wiped away in the 9/11 falling of the towers. And he came down here and built this place, and hence it's called Nytex for New York, Texas. And it's got to be a really proud moment for him and Andy Moog. They built something special here in North Richland Hills.
They absolutely did. In fact, this building itself is a reclamation project. And now it's a hub of activity.
And again, you can see why. It's very loud in here. It's very intimate. The fans are right on top of you, and the fans, although we like to see them keep their shirts on a little more, the fans really get into it here.
So Dave Van Drunen is in the penalty box. I believe Saunders has received a game misconduct.
I believe Van Drunen did also. Or only, how about?
Van Drunen got a double minor.
They caught the high sticky, Pete.
Moyer also being shown the door here.
That's probably a good idea. He was up to no good these last 3 minutes. And Pete, you were talking about the rivalry. Next year, how about this one? You know, this is the 17th season of the CHL. Next year they add Allen franchise. That should be a pretty good rivalry between Allen and the Texas Brahmas.
They're hoping to duplicate what the Brahmas have done here in North Richland Hills in Allen. Five on four in favor of the Jackalopes for the remainder of the game. I guess there's 1 second difference if you want to hold me on a technicality.
I don't want to. It's 8-1, no technicality.
Menard intercepts it from Pierce. Los Perrants has it for the Jackalopes. Time winding down on their season. 2:40 remaining in the game. Kanunen in the corner, clears it up but not out. Plant has it at the point, plays it off the boards for Les Perrants. Out of the zone, the Jacks have to clear. 2:25 remaining. Plant drives it in. Behind Jaeger, Kanunen in the corner. Sends it up the boards. The zone is cleared. Skorchinski skates in, looking for his 4th goal or his 3rd assist. Quinn just misses. Skorchinski gets it back.
That's beautiful hockey.
Quinn again, deflected wide.
Quinn's determined to get some hats on the ice, isn't he?
He absolutely is. He's got 2 goals tonight. Skorchinski's got 3. Kanunen and McLeod have also scored tonight.
The fans, a little bit, you know, better late than never. They broke it into the chant of warm up the bus. And we checked out the bus, Pete, on the way in, and that's not going to be a fun ride home.
No.
Which, is there ever really a fun ride to Odessa in a bus?
I suspect if they had won tonight, that would have been a fun ride to
there you
Odessa.
go. That would have been the one and only time. You know, I said this when we started this playoff run for the Brahmas, that if there's going to be a sports championship trophy lifted here in the Metroplex in 2009, I thought it would be the Texas Brahmas. Nothing's changed my mind. You have to win 12 games to win the President's Cup. This is 8 down, 4 to go.
They are a minute 3 away from being the Southern Conference representative in the President's Cup final. They will not have home ice advantage, but they've been pretty good on the road here in the postseason.
Crowds on their feet, deservedly so. 8-1, it's been a thorough and complete domination here in what we thought was going to be a really tight Game 7.
The only question is, can Jaeger hold the Jacks to 1 goal? He makes the save here. 39 seconds remaining, Game 7.
That's really the only blemish, is the soft goal that Jaeger allowed, even though he didn't have much of a chance. It was a flutter ball that just kind of floated over his head and kind of a fluky goal. Other than that, it's almost been a flawless performance.
The Jackalopes win the draw. Shot from the point. Casually gloved by Jaeger. The Jacks are on the power play. Their only goal came with a man advantage. At 16:57 of the second, that made it 6-1.
By then, it was already over.
25 seconds remain.
11 years, Brahmas fans, in some incarnation or another, have waited to get to a President's Cup or a final series, and tonight it finally arrived.
The Fort Worth Texans were the Central Hockey League champions in 77-78. And it looks like the Texas Brahmas will have a chance to win a President's Cup championship in the CHL, eliminating the Odessa Jackalopes 4-3, dominating Game 7 on home ice, 8-1, the final score. And the Brahmas really have something to celebrate.
You see a little bit of relief for the Brahmas, but a lot of jubilation. I mean, they got the monkey off their back from last year. They're going where no Brahmas team is gone, and it's hard to bet against them playing in this building. I mean, they're going to be hard to beat in any home game they play against Mississippi or Colorado in the President's Cup.
There was a complete team effort, but Tyler Skorchinski, the real star of the game, with 3 goals and 2 assists. Quinn had a couple of goals. Kanunen scored. McLeod scored. The defense was fabulous tonight.
Well, we knew that Brahmas defense would be fabulous coming in. We expected more from Toivonen, but for the second time in this series, he got shelled, he got yanked, and the Brahmas just broke out target practice. It was a total domination. It was a mismatch in the Game 7. We figured to be tight scoring and close. The Brahmas are clearly the better team.
There's one of the more amazing scenes in sports. 3 minutes ago, these guys were fighting one another. Now they're shaking hands at the end of a long series. But clearly the Brahmas proved tonight that the best team was Texas. It's a final. Texas wins 8-1. The trophy presentation is next on Time Warner Cable Metro Sports.
AT&T U-verse is scary. Don't believe everything you hear. They can raise their rates on you anytime, anywhere. But with Time Warner Cable, I get the choice to lock in my rate. So I pay the same bill every month. There's no surprises. There's nothing to fear. Except bats, bugs, creepy crawly bugs, zombies, spider monkeys, clowns. Don't get me started with clowns.
Price lock guarantee on high-speed online video and phone? AT&T U-verse doesn't have it. Time Warner Cable does. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
Remember when we were fascinated by this sound? Racing onto the internet through a dial-up phone modem. Woo! We thought that was fast, till competition came from cable and lit a fire under the internet. Movies and music and pictures, just like that. Cable fixed TV, the internet, and now phones. Made them all easy. Cable competes. We win.
With AT&T DSL, you have the internet. But with Roadrunner High-Speed Online, you have seriously fast internet. You know, the kind of speed that unlocks the potential of the web. I get to have a true connection with people and cultures all over the globe, sharing with them ideas and experiences none of us will ever forget. Blackjack! Blackjack, baby!
Faster internet? AT&T DSL doesn't have it. Time Warner Cable does. Time Warner Cable, the power of you.
The Texas Brahmas an 8-1 win tonight over the Odessa Jackalopes, winning Game 7 of the Southern Conference Championship, and the 3 stars have just been announced.
Yeah, 3 stars pretty much a no-brainer tonight. You had Jacobson, you had Quinn had the 2 goals, and of course Tyler Skorchinski with a hat trick, got him off the 2-goal lead, and from there it was pretty much a whitewash, 8-1.
Skorchinski has really come to life here in the playoffs. Another outstanding performance tonight. He got a hat trick by scoring the first 3 goals of the game.
The natural hat trick, yeah, and it was so early that fans said, I don't have a hat to throw, I want to keep my hat for later. You know, Palmer takes a bad penalty, the Brahmas get up 2-0, Jaeger's flawless in net, and that's pretty much all she wrote.
This is an exclusive presentation of Time Warner Cable Metro Sports. This telecast intended solely for Time Warner Cable customers. Any use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of Time Warner Cable Metro Sports and the Texas Brahmas strictly prohibited. We have some highlights. There certainly were plenty of them. 8 goals tonight for the Texas Brahmas. The onslaught started early. They wasted no time jumping in front. Jacobson and Cameron assisting on the first goal at 7:43 of the first. Then Skorchinski scored late in the first to make it 2-0. Then 39 seconds into the third, completed the hat trick. Kanunen, Quinn, McLeod added second period goals. The third period, just a coronation. Quinn would add another goal in the third, and the Brahmas enjoy an 8-1 victory. And this Brahmas crowd, who didn't expect to be here for a Game 7, certainly got their money's worth, and it's hard to imagine that they could have seen the Brahmas play any better than they did tonight.
Yeah, they didn't expect to be here, but now I bet they're happy they were. They saw a Game 7. They saw the Brahmas play by far their best game of the series, probably their best game of the playoffs, and even build a little more momentum going to the President's Cup they've never been before. And these fans will feel good about the, about any game they play here in the President's Cup in this home house. They feel like they like their chances.
Now the Brahmas just wait and see what the result will be between Mississippi and Colorado in the Northern Conference Final. They're going into Game 6. Colorado leading that series 3-2, winning the first 3 games of that series, but now they've lost 2 in a row to Mississippi.
It
So
needs
the
to be
Brahmas know
Colorado,
they're in.
doesn't it? It needs just to be fitting for last year.
That
it
would
needs to be
seem
Colorado.
appropriate. Last year, of course, Texas and Colorado played in the Northern Conference Final. Colorado won that series in 7 games. It could be another thriller if they do get the rematch. But as you mentioned, Mississippi has played Texas tough as well. So either way, the Brahmas got their hands full, and they know that they don't have home ice in the President's Cup Final.
They don't have home ice, so they have to win at least 1 game on the road. But they get either one of these teams in this barn where they're 31-6-1 now. They got to like their chances. And again, it's probably good for the Brahmas to be pushed in this series. But they faced a Game 7 where they weren't last year. They faced that door, they kicked it in, and they've got all the momentum going in the President's Cup.
4-3. The Texas Brahmas eliminate Odessa 8-1. The final in Game 7. The Brahmas are the CHL Southern Conference champions. You've been watching the Texas Brahmas on Time Warner Cable Metro Sports.